Hey everybody, today on bellarenovare we are going to be doing a cute blend on this desk. It's going to have some pinks and purples and some blues on it. Stay tuned if you guys want to see a colorful, awesome makeover. Hey everybody, if you are new here, my name is Crys'Dawna and welcome to my YouTube channel. I am a furniture artist. I do a lot of colorful furniture and sometimes do some neutral furniture and sometimes do some restoration and upcycling and all the things. So if you're new here, please hit that subscribe button and then hit the bell and you'll get all the latest videos that I put out. I do a few each week. Some furniture related as far as actual makeovers where I show you how to do it, and then some we talk about different things in the business. So today I am going to be doing this little desk right here. So this desk is actually my client's daughter's, okay? And it's kind of followed her through her life. It used to be her changing table. It's kind of a cool little story. So I want to say they had it when they lived in the States, and now they live in the Netherlands, and it's just gonna be super cute for her. She is 7, I believe. So we are going to do some blending with some pink at the bottom. I did a pink ombre years ago and she really likes it. And then my rainbow sherbet chest, if you guys hadn't seen that, earlier this year, she really liked that too. So we're gonna do some pink into a little bit of purple because she wants bluish teal up here, and obviously blue and pink make purple, so that will be the best transition for it. We're gonna put some new knobs on here. We're going to strip down the top of this. I'm gonna show you guys how to get a white waxed wash look. It's gonna be really awesome. I've done it a few times, so if you guys haven't seen it, it's been in a few of my videos this year. Anyways, this is my last video of 2020, okay? So this is my last makeover video of 2020. So after we're done, you guys, also make sure if you're not subscribed, subscribe, but throw a comment down there and let me know how your year's gone. Obviously, I know the answer. It's been a little bit crazy this year, but hopefully this last piece will brighten up your day. So let's get started. You can see how much character the top of this piece has. This is original and it's got some dips and crevices and it looks like it has some distress on it. So I want to keep that, but the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to strip this top down, but I don't want to strip it down smooth. I want to keep all of those little imperfections. For this part, I'm using my 5-inch orbital sander by Surf Prep. I start with an 80 grit, I go up to 100 grit, and then I finalize it with a 120 grit so that I can smooth it out, but I don't want to remove the character of this piece. So I just want to remove the finish so that I can do my whitewash with my wax, but I don't want to go down so deep that I remove all of those blemishes. I will be replacing the hardware, so I'm going to take all this old hardware off. I very rarely paint over hardware or hinges. There is some loose veneer, and so what I'm going to do is on Amazon I got this syringe and then there's a needle, and what I'm going to do is I actually put wood glue in there, and that allows me to get underneath that veneer. Once I have enough glue on there, I'm going to take a piece of wood and I'm going to clamp it down. That way I can fix that so that it's not loose anymore. I'm also gonna fill all of the chips and cracks and things with Dixie Belle's Dixie Mud. This way I can paint over it, have a nice smooth finish. So I just fill it in and then I smooth it over with a popsicle stick or a plastic spatula. I am gonna come back after it dries and I will sand it. That way it'll be ready for paint. Now, if it is a very deep gouge, then you may have to do this process twice on one part. That way you get a nice smooth finish, but start with thin layers and do it like that instead of just trying to fix a big, huge, deep gouge with a ton of mud. This desk is fairly old and also belongs to a little girl, so I'm going to clean up the drawers for her a little bit. This is how you can clean up some drawers that have stains. You're gonna take a sandpaper. So I have my 3x4 electric ray. You can use you could do it by hand if you want, but a sander, an electric sander is probably the easiest way to do this. So I just go in with a 120 grit and I sand the entire thing. You do want to wipe out all the excess dust. I do like to sand the sides of the drawers as well because sometimes there's paint or stain left over. Also, this has a really glossy finish, and so I'm just going to scuff sand it for extra protection. They do have products that are gripping primers, but I already have my sandpaper out, so I'm just going to go ahead and put a scuff sand on the entire piece. There is a lot of debate of whether or not you should sand and then clean or clean and then sand. I've done it both ways, and I really, to be honest, don't notice a difference. So for this, I'm actually going to clean the entire piece because there is a lot of dust and dirt and grime from over the years. So I'm taking a Dixie Belle White Lightning to clean it. So you want to take your cleaner, you want to make sure that you clean the entire piece. Even though I scuff sanded it, I still want to clean all of that residual off. Once I have the drawers sanded and wiped out and cleaned, I'm going to take some Big Mama's Butter and I'm actually going to go inside of the drawers and I'm going to put it on there. So I like Orange Grove. It has a nice smell to it and you can see it just rejuvenates the wood. So that way the drawers inside are a little bit nicer and it makes it smell really nice. So I'm going to go ahead and apply this all inside. I do apply it to the sides as well. You can do it to your drawer slides if they're wooden. It helps them slide better. You also want to make sure that you wipe up any excess so that way it doesn't just sit on top of the wood. You really need to wipe out the excess. I will be using a few lighter colors on this, and so I'm going to put a blocking primer. It's Dixie Belle's Boss in gray. This is actually one of their newer ones. And so I'm going to go over the entire piece and do 2 coats of this Boss on this piece, just in case I have any kind of bleed through problems. The colors are kind of on the line of being dark enough that you won't see bleed through, but light enough that you're not sure. So it's my insurance policy, and that is why I've put the blocking primer on the entire piece. We are going to be using some really fun colors, Amethyst, Peony, and Pure Ocean, to blend with. So the first thing I'm going to do is lay down a base coat. So I'm going to start from the bottom and work my way up, and I'm going to do 2 coats of Peony. So what I do is I do 1 coat and then I wait for it to dry, and then I do my 2nd coat of the color before I do any blending. So we're going to start with Peony, and then I'm going to butt the Amethyst right up against that one. I pull out the drawers and everything so that way I get the paint in all the places it needs to go. And then I do my blending after those 2 coats of paint have dried. There are a few reasons why I do a base coat before I do blending, and that is so that I can see where I want my blending to be. So I can kind of visualize when I put all the colors where I want it, I can visualize and step back where all the blends will be. And that really just helps me visualize the direction I want to go on my piece. Also, when I do a base coat, because when you blend, you work with water and you kind of work the paint, this allows a really nice base coat. That way you don't work the paint down to the wood finish, or in this case, down to the Boss finish. And so having a base coat is really important. So that way you don't work away the pre-existing finish, and then you can see it through your blending.
It's a Saturday night. You look like $1,000,000 wearing that dress I like. You're smiling, but there's something missing in your eyes. Girl, I can tell that you have something on your mind. But I will make you forget all your sorrows. Let go like there's no tomorrow. Let's have a drink, just relax, all your problems will fade. If you're ready for a good time, count on me. There's a party.
Once I have my 2nd coat of paint down, I'm going to allow this to dry fully before we start blending. When you start blending, you need a mister bottle, paper towels, or a rag. You're going to need a brush for each color that you're using, and then a clean, dry, neutral brush. So we are going to start blending. I always go to my transition line and I add wet paint. So for this, I started with the bottom color. You could have started with the top color. And I'm going to add wet paint, and I'm going to go up a little bit above that transition line so that we can do the blend a little bit above that so that we're not fighting with that dried line. So that was Peony. And then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take some of the Amethyst. I'm going to add some of the paint on that line of Amethyst. And then I'm going to kind of go down into the Peony. I also am going to do some circles. I'll do some horizontal. I'll do a little bit of diagonal. And I kind of toggle between the two colors and the two brushes to get these to really meld together. So I'm going to take my Peony brush. I didn't have any paint on it. Kind of dry brush in there a little bit. Now I'm going to add some paint and just kind of keep working those together. The key is to make sure that the area has moisture, so we're going to spritz it with our bottle, and then this is my neutral brush. And now I'm going to work those two colors together with my neutral brush. So I'm going to go horizontal, I'm going to go diagonal, I will go vertical, sometimes I'll do circles, but as you can see that a little bit more Peony got on the top of that, and so I'm going to clean off my neutral brush a little bit with a paper towel to still kind of keep those colors separate. I'm going to add a little bit more Amethyst on here just so that the Peony doesn't take over too much. And so sometimes with blends, you have to kind of play around. The whole point of blending and the key is to just play around, but have a really light hand when you do it. I'm going to do the same technique here on the side that I did on the front. This is Pure Ocean. So on this one, I'm starting with the top color. The last one I started with the bottom. So we're putting Pure Ocean on this piece so that way we have wet paint, because remember, moisture is the key when we're blending. And so I'm just adding some Pure Ocean into this entire thing. And then I'm going to go down to the line and I will be adding some Amethyst, and I'll probably go up into the Pure Ocean a little bit. So if you can see, I'm going up a little bit on the corners, on the sides, and then I'm going over that line a little bit more. I add a little bit more Amethyst because I don't want to fight that transition line that's already dried. So a lot of people ask me when they're blending how they fix that line, and that's how you do it. So I'm going to do some circles. The thing with purple is when you're blending with purple, it really likes to take over. So you have to be very cognizant of still adding your other colors. And you're gonna see here how I do that. So I have to keep on putting Pure Ocean over top of the purple, otherwise that purple will take over. So we're just misting, and I'm keeping it so that there's moisture on there, and that way underneath where that purple is, it's going to have a nice transition. So right here, I'm adding some more Pure Ocean, and as you can see, it's already taking on some of that purple. So what you may have to do is have a separate brush where you just put your Pure Ocean on. Otherwise, as soon as you get purple on that Pure Ocean brush, you might as well kiss the Pure Ocean goodbye. I know that sounds really dramatic, but purple loves to take over. So this is another clean, dry, neutral brush. I put moisture on it with the water, and I'm just kind of working it horizontal and going down into those colors. I'm going to clean that off because, again, that purple really likes to take over. And so I'm going to try to avoid that by cleaning it more often. And now I'm just kind of going vertical and going horizontal and trying to feather those colors together without allowing that purple to take over too much. So right here, I'm staying up in the top of my Pure Ocean. I'm trying not to go down in my purple too much. Otherwise, it's just going to get onto my brush and then it'll take over. Once I've blended my entire piece, I'm going to allow it to dry, and then I'm going to seal it with a satin clear coat. I just use a high quality synthetic brush that is damp, and I just put it on like I would put paint on, and that really gives me a nice finish. I don't have brush strokes. And the reason why I'm doing this also is because I will be using a pearlescent glaze, and so putting a clear coat on first really allows that glaze to glide a little bit easier, and I can manipulate it better. So here's the pearlescent glaze. You want to make sure that you mix it really, really well. This is a little bit thicker, so I'm going to mix it really well, but you can see how thick it is. I'm going to have a mister bottle when I do this. Okay, so my satin clear coat is completely dry on this. I'm going to mist the area, and then I'm going to brush my pearlescent glaze on just like I did my paint, just like I did my satin clear coat, except I'm going to go in the direction that I had originally put the paint on, and then I'm going to go in the opposite direction, and then I'm going to go back in the other direction. That way I know I have covered the entire finish, but I am using a light hand the entire time that I do this. I'm going to finish this piece off with some awesome Chameleon wax and Gilding Wax. So this is Lilac, and the other one I'll be using is Apricot. And these are just kind of an iridescent wax. After I'm done adding these iridescent waxes, I'm going to put a gold around the edges. Then I'm going to add some really awesome hardware, and the bottom of this piece will be done. This wax, the Chameleon wax and the gold Gilding Wax, is actually self-sealing, and you can apply it with your finger or you can apply it with an artist brush. You guys know I like my makeup brushes. So I apply it and I'll rub it in, and it gives it a nice cute little shimmer.
No mistake ever kept me late. We spent summers catching fireflies and winters on our skates. One big smile across my face. We used to dance our way to church on Sundays. Mama set the pace. Daydreamer, kitten and maid.
I wasn't going to leave you hanging with the top. So the top, I'm taking Dixie Belle's Best Staying Wax in white, and I'm applying this to the entire top of the piece. So I'm putting a lot on here so that I can really get into all those nooks and crannies. So you can see that there's still some of that character from before. So I'm just applying this to the entire top, and after I'm done applying it to the entire top, you want to take the excess and you want to wipe that off right away. Once you are done with wiping your excess off, and you're going to need a little bit of elbow grease to get the excess off. You're going to allow it to sit for about 15 to 20 minutes. So after this part, after you get all that excess off, you're going to allow it to sit for 15 to 20 minutes, and you're going to come back and you're going to buff it. I like to use a microfiber cloth to buff mine. And the way I know that it's nice and buffed in is that my microfiber cloth will actually glide very easily over the finish. So right here I'm buffing it, and you're just going to go in circles. You can go, in with the grain, away from the grain, things like that. But again, you're going to know that it's nice and buffed in when you just can glide that microfiber cloth over the finish or your hand. Okay guys, so here is the piece. It is super cute. You can't, in the photos, you can't really see the pearl glaze, so I'm going to try to get close in the video so that you can see it. Sometimes videos and photos don't always do the pieces justice because there's just certain elements that don't always show up. So anyways, this is super cute. I cannot wait to give this to her. I think she's going to love it. But if you guys are not subscribed, hit the subscribe button and then hit the bell so you get all the latest videos. Also, make sure you stay tuned for next week because I have a surprise. I'm going to be collaborating with a couple people and we have a huge surprise for you guys. So make sure you stay tuned next week, and that's it. Bye guys, happy creating.
Don't need someone to save me, no, and don't come running to blame me. From miles away I can tell that something's off. The way you look and how you pause when you talk, I think you're setting up